when you when you leave this webinar, you should have access to your resources and know how to contact our help desk. And we hope that indeed you will be more knowledgeable about how to use Grants Online when the webinar is over. Again, my name is Lillian Barnes. I am the lead trainer and also the operations manager for the Grants Online system. All of our recipients that are attending this particular webinar are in listen-only mode. That means that you will be able to hear me. I will not be able to hear you. If you have any questions during the time that we are conducting the webinar, please use the questions or chat feature that you see as a part of the GoToMeeting. We do have a member of my staff, Yvette Bowser, who is monitoring our questions. She's going to try to answer as many as she can. She may bring a few to my attention. And any that we don't answer during the course of the webinar, we are going to prepare a document that will show all of the questions that were submitted during the webinar and our answers to them. Those questions and answers will be posted on our training resources page along with the webinar itself. We are indeed recording this webinar so that you can come back to it and refer to it in the future. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start. There are some handouts that are available to you. You should see a handouts link where, as a part of the GoToMeeting functions. And there are 3 handouts there. There's a grant recipient quick reference guide, a grant recipient user manual, and then the grantee training PDF. The grantee training is actually the slides that I'm going to be using for this webinar. So you have those available to you. And then the user manual is a more involved slide-by-slide, screenshot-by-screenshot manual to give you more detailed understanding of the steps to perform the task you want to perform in Grants Online. The quick reference guide is basically similar to the user manual, but at a much higher level. There's not as many screenshots on it, but it does have most of the information. Okay, all of those handouts that you have here, there are also available on our training resources page. I will be showing you that in just a few minutes. Let's move on to the first page of our slides. Again, before I start going through these bullets, I just want to reiterate that Grants Online is a Department of Commerce system. It was developed by NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. However, after the first 4 years of NOAA using it as by itself, as a bureau by itself, other bureaus of the Department of Commerce began to come onto the system and began using Grants Online to manage their grants. EDA, the Economic Development Administration, came onto Grants Online in fiscal year 15, and so they've been in the system for a couple of years. Some of you may have been in the system all that time. Some of you may be newer. So we welcome our grantees, and we hope that this will be helpful to you. Other bureaus in the Department of Commerce that use Grants Online include the Minority Business Development Agency, the International Trade Administration, the Census Bureau, the National, NTIA. I forgot what the T is. Information Agency is what the I and the A is. But we have other bureaus, as you see, that use Grants Online to process their awards. After I open up the system, when I get to the login screen, I'm going to show you how to get to our training resources page. That'll be a couple of slides from now, and then you'll see where you can go back and reference these resources and pick up any additional resources that might be helpful to you. All right, let's look at the bullet points that we hear. Why is it good to use Grants Online? Why use Grants Online? Previously to using Grants Online, if you have had awards with EDA in the past, you got the award information via paper. Now, everything is electronic. So you can download your information right out of the system, but it won't be lost because it remains in the system. Your applications that are submitted to grants.gov are downloaded through a system interface directly from grants.gov into Grants Online. We don't have to rekey that application information, and so that reduces any possible user errors because we're downloading the information using the system and it goes directly into Grants Online. You can access your files easily from anywhere. Commerce employees and the grantees can wherever you are, as long as you have internet access, you should be able to access your grant files from Grants Online. Both the grantees and the commerce employees are accessing the same grant files. However, within those grant files, there are some internal documents that only our commerce employees will see. And the grantees have access to most of the documents, but there are certain documents you don't see, but they are still a part of the same grants file. That means that no longer there is a need for paper files. Everything via Grants Online is fully electronic. All right, next slide. One of the things we want to emphasize about Grants Online, which is the system that you see right here in the middle, is that there are other systems that surround Grants Online. So your data is moving through lots of different systems, lots of different electronic systems. And because of that, it's very important that we have the correct information for your organization. The main identifying number for your organization is your DUNS number. So it is very important that as you get a DUNS number from DMV and register in the SAM.gov system, that's the DUNS number that we're going to enter into Grants Online to identify your organization. Not only are we using that DUNS number, but also we get a feed from the SAM.gov system. SAM is the System for Award Management. We actually get your data, the way you have entered it into SAM.gov, that is the way we pull it into Grants Online. So your profile, your organizational profile in Grants Online will reflect the data just as you have entered it into SAM.gov. If you need to make any updates to your profile, your name, your address, that information needs to be updated in the SAM.gov system, and we will get a download of the updates the next day. You also have to be registered in SAM.gov before you can use Grants.gov, which is the HHS system that you use to upload your applications. And as you see, we get a feed from Grants.gov into Grants Online also. We pull your applications in after you upload them to Grants.gov. Once we process your applications and they are turned into grant awards, we have to move accounting information from Grants Online, which is not an accounting system. We're not a financial system. We're just an administrative grant system. So we have to move funding information into the Department of Commerce's financial system, which is called CBS. If you ever hear your project officer talking about CBS, that is the Commerce Department's financial system of record. So we move your grant accounting information into the Department of Commerce financial system, CBS, and then from CBS, data gets transferred into ASAP.gov, which is a treasury system, and that is the system that you use to draw your funds down if you are indeed registered with ASAP.gov. If you're not registered with ASAP.gov, there is a way to submit a request for payment via Grants Online. In addition to us moving data into our financial system, we also move data monthly into a public-facing system called usaspending.gov. Every month, we move a copy of all of the records of grants that were approved by our grants officers the previous month. Those grant records get moved up into USA Spending, and the general public has access to see the Department of Commerce grants activity by looking at usaspending.gov. Any questions on this slide, Yvette? Okay, let's move on to the next slide. All right. Again, as we mentioned, you should be able to access grants online from just about anywhere as long as you have internet access. The recommended browsers to use grants online are Firefox, Chrome, and Internet Explorer. There is indeed a caveat with Internet Explorer because if you're using IE11, there are a few issues with uploading attachments, and you have to tweak your compatibility settings in order to be able to upload those correctly. We do have an area on our training page called Known Issues, and we give you a document to show you what you need to do if you're using Internet Explorer 11. Our office normally uses Chrome. We use the Chrome browser, and we also use Firefox. A few of us use IE, but we tend more to use Chrome and Firefox, and they seem to work just fine for grants online. If also you're using the Internet Explorer browser, if you save your password in the browser, it does cause problems when you're trying to change your password, and you will need to change your password at least once every 90 days. So please be mindful. If you're using IE and you save your password in IE, you may have to use another browser to change your password and then come back to using Internet Explorer. Okay? So we're going to show you where you can find this information in just a few minutes, but before we do, I am going to take a set of polls as we're going through this webinar. I just want to find out where our webinar attendees are located. Actually, I want to know which Department of Commerce agencies are issuing your grants. So we have a series of 5 different polls, and you should, but by the time you get to the end, by the time we do all 5 polls, hopefully you will have seen the particular issuing agency, and you can say that that's the one that you're from. If not, there should be an other, and you can let us know. So we're going to launch the first poll, and let's see if any of you guys, if any of you have your awards issued by any of these particular EDA organizations. This is the headquarters and 3 of EDA's regions. All right. So the responses are coming in. So far, it looks like EDA headquarters are in the lead. And there's also about a similar amount that are not included on this page, so you guys may be on the next polls that we're going to be doing as we go along. We'll give it 15 more seconds to allow 1 minute for the poll, and then we're going to go ahead and end the poll. All right. So about 75% of the respondents have voted. We're going to go ahead and close the poll at this time, and you will have a chance later on to answer this question if you were in none of the above. Okay, let's go ahead to the next screen in our slides. We're now going to review what we call roles in Grants Online. Roles are basically an identifying item on your account, which allows the system to know what functions you can perform in the Grants Online system. It also lets us know whether you there's something that goes with the roles called affiliation that lets us know which organization you're with. So let's start with this list right here. We have a role for authorized representatives. That's also known as an AOR. Some of the times you use the term AOR. I believe that is used in grants.gov. RAR, sometimes we use that here, but you're going to hear me say authorized representative. And they're all the same entity. That's the person that has signature authority for your grant-making or your grantee organization. Recipient administrator is the person that can manage other users that use Grants Online that are a part of your organization. The following slides we're going to go more depth, so I'm just going to give you a high-level understanding right now, and then we're going to go into each of the slides. The principal investigator or the project director, that's the person that's basically the lead on doing the work of your particular project. That's also a role in Grants Online. The business or financial representative is the person that will be submitting your financial reports. And then we have a role, sort of a catch-all, that we call recipient users, also known as key personnel. And this allows other people in your organization to have access to your grant records and Grants Online, but they may not be performing any particular function. Okay? Please note that one person in your organization can actually have more than one of these roles. In addition to that, the opposite is true. One role can be given to multiple people. So you can have multiple people with the same role. So it varies. It just depends on how your particular organization is. All right, let's start now with the authorized representative, also known as the AOR, RAR. That person, again, is the one that has signature authority for your organization. The authorized representatives can view all of the awards and Grants Online that are associated with your organization. That is also the person that will receive the award notification email whenever a new award has been processed and then is sent to your recipient organization. That email notification goes to the person that has this authorized representative role. Only someone with that role can actually accept an award or an amendment for your organization. The recipient authorized representatives can also initiate an award action request. They don't have to be the one to initiate it. However, if another user within your organization initiates it, only the authorized representative can submit it to the agency. So when you're ready to submit your award action request to EDA, only the authorized representative can do that. We're going to get later on into what an award action request is. So if you have questions on that, hopefully we shall answer those a little bit later. All right. The authorized representatives can also do the next two bullets here. They can complete and submit both the performance progress report and the financial report. However, they don't have to be the ones to do that. There are other roles that can be given to users in your organization that allow them to perform those functions. Okay? When you are corresponding with the federal agency, for EDA, you will be corresponding with the person that has a role in our system called a project officer. So when you're corresponding with your federal point of contact, you will see on your grants file the name of a program officer, but for EDA, they're called project officers, and that's the same person that you're going to be corresponding with. For EDA, the project officer is often also the grant specialist. For bureaus other than EDA, the grant specialist and the project officer or the program officer are two different people. But within EDA, many times the project officer is both the program officer and the grant specialist. We'll get into the distinction a little bit later, but just bear that in mind as you're looking at your grants file later on. All right, let's go to the next slide. Recipient administrator, or RA. The recipient administrator is basically the person that can that handles all of the users in your organization that have access to Grants Online. The recipient administrator can also view all the awards in your organization, but primarily they're going to be managing your user accounts. They can create new accounts. They can reset passwords. They can unlock users' accounts. Once they put in their password too many times and their account gets locked, your recipient administrator can unlock your password. They can also modify the roles that any of your users have. There is a special reference guide just for the recipient administrator, and we can also show you that when we go to our training resources page. One person who's a recipient administrator may actually have that role for more than one organization. And at this point, I do want to also point out that if, as a grant recipient, you have grants with more than one agency in Commerce that use Grants Online, you will have roles, separate roles for each of those agencies, even if they're both providing grants to your same organization. So, for instance, if organization ABC has a grant with both EDA and NOAA, then there will be two different organization ABC records in our Grants Online system. One will be associated with EDA, and another will be associated with NOAA. You as the user, the recipient user, you don't have to have two different user IDs. You can have one user ID and access your awards for both NOAA and for EDA, or if there's two other Grants Online grant-making organizations. So if indeed you're in that situation where you have awards with EDA and with another organization, another agency that does grants and Grants Online, if you currently have two different user IDs, you may send a help desk ticket. Send an email to our help desk, and we can merge your accounts so that you can log in with just one account and see all of your grant records. All right, let's go ahead and move down to the next slide. Principal investigator, sometimes also called the project director. Again, this is the person that is the lead subject matter expert on whatever your project is, and they are responsible for, of course, viewing the awards that they are working on. They should know all the terms and conditions of that award. They can also initiate award action requests, but most importantly, they're responsible for completing the progress report, the performance progress report that must be turned in periodically to your agency. Depending upon how their role is set up, they can possibly also submit the progress report to the agency. There's a special role, which is a submitting PI, that allows them to submit the report directly to EDA or whichever agency it is, and it can bypass your authorized representative. If you do not have that submitting role as a PI, then your report can only be submitted to your own authorized representative, and then in turn that person can submit it to the federal government. Let's move on to the next slide. The business and financial representative. That person also can view all the awards for their organization. Mainly, this person's role is to complete the federal financial report, also known as an SF-425. And just like with the PI, if they're giving a special submitting role, then they can actually submit that financial report directly to EDA or whichever agency you're with, and they don't have to go through the authorized representative. If they don't have the submitting role, then they will be submitting their financial report to their own authorized representative, and that person will in turn submit it to EDA or whoever your federal agency is. Next slide. The last role is recipient user, and we also call it the key personnel. That's basically, as I said earlier, a person that you want to have access to awards in your organization. They don't have to have be set up to have access to every award. There is a way that you can give them access on an award-by-award basis. That is also true for the PIs. PIs will not necessarily have access to every award in your organization. The principal investigator is given access on an award-by-award basis, and the recipient user is also given access on an award-by-award basis. The other roles we discussed, which are the authorized representative, the administrator, and the business financial person, those roles automatically have access to all of the awards that have been issued from Grants Online to your organization. All right. All right, we've talked about the roles, so now let's get ready to talk about getting a new award. The first thing that's going to happen when your application has been selected and processed to become an award, you will not see any of that activity. You do not have access to see the pre-award activity in Grants Online. Your first notice that you have an award will be an email from the Grants Online system. That email will go to the person whose name is on the bottom of the SF-424 application as the authorized representative. I will show you after we get in. Later on, I'm going to actually pull up the system and do some hands-on, and I will show you how that task can actually be reassigned to a different person if someone else needs to be the one to accept the award. But the award is actually sent to the person that it was placed on the SF-424 when it comes in from grants.gov. The reason why we do that is that we don't have any additional credentialing process for you as a recipient to use Grants Online. We're basically piggybacking on the process you have already gone through in order to use grants.gov. So since the person whose name is on the application has already been vetted in grants.gov, we use that person to send the award notification to. And then your recipient administrator can set up other people based on your own business processes, and we can then move that award to a different person if necessary. Your award notification is going to have information about your award in terms of the award period, the award number, how much money, who your program officer is. Whenever you see the word program office or program officer from any notifications that come from grants.gov or Grants Online, you can also translate that in your mind to be project officer. For EDA, they're called project officers. Okay? Next slide. Okay, again, this is more another screenshot of the notification. We are going to show you hands-on how to actually go through the award acceptance process, but just know that you can reassign this task in a couple of ways, and I'm going to show you that. Remember that the person whose name is on the SF-424 is the person who's going to receive the initial task to accept this award. Next slide. All right. Again, if this is the first grant award that you're receiving from the Grants Online system, it's very important that you contact our help desk. Your award notification will have information about our help desk. Towards the bottom of that notification, it will provide the help desk email address, the help desk phone number, our hours of operation. You're going to have access to the notification that came to you, and our help desk is going to ask you to forward that notification back to them. That will let them know that you are indeed the right person for them to set up and give access to this award. It is very important that the email address that forwards that award notification back to our help desk matches the email address that's actually in the notification. If other people need to be set up to use Grants Online within your organization, each of those people should have their own accounts. We need to set each of them up separately. They should not be sharing the same account. All right. We're getting ready to move into the demo part of the webinar. One of the things, though, before we get into that, we want to make sure that you understand that Grants Online is a 12-year-old system, so it's not a real modern system. There are little quirks to it, and one of the things is that you don't want to use your browser's back button, and we'll show you how to move backwards in the system once you're inside, but don't use the back button on your browser. Also, once you tried logging in twice and you're getting the message that you have a bad password, if you try a third time and it's incorrect, you will be locked out of the system and will have to have assistance from your recipient administrator to get you unlocked. Okay? At this point, I am actually going to flip over to the Grants Online login screen, and I want to show you a couple of links on the screen before we actually log in. Again, here's your forgot your password link. So if you know your username but you tried your password and it's not working, you can reset your own password, because when you first log into Grants Online, you are forced to set up security questions and answers. And you will use those security questions and answers to reset your own password if you forget. If you need to contact the help desk and you just cannot remember our phone number, if you click forgot your username, it pops up a little message, and on that message is our phone number, and you can contact us using the phone number there. All right? Also on this page is the link that will take you to our training resources page. Right here at the bottom of the middle of the screen, it says Grants Online Training. And this is actually a link to a public available page where we post all of our training resources. For the grant recipient, your resources will be down here underneath this link here. And you have what we call process maps, and that shows you some of the flows in Grants Online. If I have time, I will open those up. But I really want to show you these user manuals that are available. This is the user manual. That's one of your handouts in the webinar, the recipient user manual. That's the more detailed one. We also have manuals specifically for the progress report and for the financial report. And then here's the quick reference guide. This is the one that's much smaller, doesn't have as many screenshots, but it also provides you guidance as to how to use our system. These webinars that we have, we will post the slides and the videos and the questions and answers underneath number 4 on this particular training page. We will be also posting the webinar and the slides for this particular webinar sometime within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So give us time to download the video, to get it edited as needed, and then we will get it uploaded there in a few weeks. Here is that guide. Remember I said there was one specifically for the recipient administrator? That's this guide here. So if you are given the role of the recipient administrator, you have a guide that's just for the things that you have to do. We get a lot of questions and calls to the help desk about username and password problems and issues. So we have a specific guideline document just about usernames and passwords. And then there's some more down here. I'm not going to go over every other thing here, but again, you can peruse through this page and get several resources that will help you as you're using Grants Online. All right, let me flip back to the login screen. And I am now going to log into the system as a recipient. I am on our training system. See where it says Grants Online Training. However, it looks just like our production system. So right now, what you see the functionality that you see in Grants Online that I'm going to be performing today is the same functionality that we have in our production system right now. Okay? Now, I actually have 2 different recipient accounts. I need to make sure I'm logging in with the right one, so that it's to the one where I need to accept the award. So let's see if this is the right one. All right, once you log in, everyone, both the recipient and the federal users, will get this notice to users before they can move forward. Okay? Once you log in, you're going to come to a page that will have some announcements on what we call the document pane. This will let you know, most of the time it's going to let you know if we're going to have system maintenance, when the system is going to be unavailable. Here's our little alert about that Internet Explorer issue, and this link right here takes you to where we have all of those known issues. Let me just show you on our training page, right over here where it says Release Notes. If you click on that Release Notes link, here are our known issues. So here's the instructions for Internet Explorer 11. This is an issue if you have PDFs that have embedded documents within them. And here's a whole guide on different technologies, issues that we know occur with different browsers. All right. Once you log into Grants Online, the first thing you're going to want to do is find, if this is a new award, you want to find how do you access that award? How do you actually accept that award? Most of the activities that you are going to have to do in Grants Online will be started from your inbox and this link down here that says Tasks. This takes you to a tickler that holds all the different tasks that are waiting for action from you. And you will have a task. If you've gotten that notice for a new award, there will be a task in your inbox that says Accept/Decline Award. Now, your inbox may or may not look exactly like this, because the columns in your inbox are actually, you can customize how they look. If you want your inbox to be set up slightly differently, you can go to this link that says Account Management, go to My Preferences, and you can move down here underneath Task Preferences. You can move these columns around so that you can see the ones that are going to help you out whenever you use Grants Online. I'm going to move my award number further up. I want to see that first thing. So I'm going to make the award number the first thing I see on my inbox. I don't need to see when I complete a task, so I'm going to move that over here. I do want to know when I actually received that task, so I'm going to move the task receive date over here, and I'm going to move that up too, even in front of the award number. I know my own name. I don't need to know my applicant name. The award start date may be a good thing for me to know. I'm going to put that up here, beside my award number. And I think that's good. I'm going to save this new view of my inbox. And notice now, once I saved it immediately, my inbox has changed to reflect the columns that I just picked, as well as the order of those columns. I still have an Accept Decline Award task, but the task name has just moved over, and now I can immediately see the award number and when that award actually starts. In this case, this award started about a month ago, so it's a retroactive award. Okay? Let's go ahead and get going. One of the things that we do need to mention is that as we're going through Grants Online, you're going to have a button that says Save and Start Workflow. When you click on that button, it does not immediately send the action to the next person. There's always going to be one more action you have to take, and it's going to be a drop-down that says Forward To. So just because you click Save and Start Workflow, you have not yet sent it to the next person. And you'll see that as I'm operating with these tasks in the Grants Online system. The other thing I do want to remind you, remember I said do not use your back button here. You need to use what we call breadcrumbs. Those of you that remember the Hansel and Gretel story, they scattered some breadcrumbs so they can get back to their own place. It didn't work so well for Hansel and Gretel, but it does work in Grants Online. So as you see, as we are going to different pages at Grants Online, the breadcrumbs are shown at the top. And in order to get back to a previous one, you just click on that breadcrumb and you're able to get back. Right here, where it says number of breadcrumbs, this will control how many of them show at the top of your screen at a time. So now I'm changing mine from 4 to 10. And if I go back to my tasks and click View again, you will notice that as we're going through the actions of Grants Online, you're going to start seeing a bunch of breadcrumbs here that are piling up, but there will be no more than 10. So whatever number you put there will be the maximum number of breadcrumbs that you will see at the top of your screen. Okay? All right. I am now ready to accept this new award that has come into my inbox. I've just clicked on View for the task, and now I have this action drop-down box. So I have to determine what is the next thing I have to do. And everything that I'm doing now, and when you go back and you look at your user manual, you should see each of these steps in your user manual. So when I click on the drop-down, I do not have an action to accept my award. So I have to first view the award details. The system forces you to click on this option first before you can accept or decline your award. Another thing, throughout Grants Online, whenever you have this drop-down box, the items in the drop-down box will be listed in alphabetical orders. They're not listed in any particular order that you might want to do something, because the system doesn't always know what that order is. So all of your drop-down actions will be listed in alphabetical order. So let's go back down here to View Award Details. Once you select an action to take, you must click on the Submit button for the system to take you to that next action. So we have now moved to another screen, and this is what we call a CD 450 screen, or basically your award document. CD, if you have any forms that start with CD, that means Commerce Department. So the Commerce Department has its own award document. This is basically our cover sheet. And at the top, you will see information about your organization. You have the project title for your grant award, the award number. You've got the money over here, as well as the project period. Down underneath this next section, you'll see various links that are checked. Some are checked and some are not. The ones that are not checked will not be hyperlinks. The ones that are checked, most of those will be hyperlinks. And you will be able to click on each of those to get more detailed information of various documents that you should review to make sure you understand the terms and conditions for your particular grant award. At the very bottom of the screen, if you want a printout of your grant award, you can actually, for this particular page, you can actually click on this CD450 report and get a PDF version of what we're looking at. Now at this point, we have not yet accepted the grant award, so as we scroll down on it, you will see the grants officer name and date, but you will not see the authorized representative because it has not yet been accepted by the authorized representative. All right, let me go back to our screen. All right, I've now clicked on our various links. Down here, there's some attachments. So you need to click on your attachments and look at those. And once you've done those, just cancel off of this page. And you come back to the page with your drop-down actions. At this point, you now have the option to accept or decline your award. Be very careful if you have issues with your award. Don't automatically click Decline the Award. Make sure that you contact by phone or email your project officer and express your concerns, because once the award is declined in Grants Online, it will trigger a process to deobligate those funds. So you don't want to do that unless you absolutely are certain that you want to decline the award. Also, if you select the decline award option, you will be forced to put in a comment to actually justify or put in a comment as to why you're declining the award. However, there is a return to federal agency for revision option. That option is should be used if you have issues mostly with maybe the terms and conditions, specifically your special award conditions. If the problem is with either the award dates or with the award funding, your project officer is most likely going to recommend that you accept the award, and then an amendment can be done after you accept the award to make the adjustments that are appropriate. Okay? You also have this option. Remember I told you that the person who receives this award may not be the person in your recipient organization who should actually electronically sign it or accept it. So if someone else in your organization needs to actually be the one to accept the award, you just click on Reassign Acceptance and Submit. And then the system will allow you, just a minute, let's see, a little slow right now. Here we go. The system will allow you to select another person who has been set up in your organization to identify them and then reassign the award to allow them to accept the award. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to cancel off of the screen so that we can stay logged in as the person we're in now and accept the award. I'm now going to go ahead and take that action, accept the award, and submit. Notice right now, before I do this, the status says approved. Approved means the EDA grants officer has approved the award, but you want to see the status saying accepted. So click submit here. And there's one more page that you have to complete before the status changes to accepted. This page allows you to identify or change the person that you have set up as your recipient administrator. Remember, this is the person who has the ability in the system to set up other users for your organization. So it's just verifying that the person that's set up is still the correct person, or you do have an ability, the authorized representative has the ability to change or add a new person to have that same role. If you have multiple people in your organization with the recipient administrator role, only one person's name is going to show up on the screen, and that's okay. The other people will still have their role. We only show one person on the screen. So if everything is fine, you click the Save button. If it's a brand new award, it's going to be blank, and you will use this button to add a new person. For now, I'm going to click Save. And now notice my status. It has changed from approved to accepted. At this point, another task has been generated, automatically generated by the system. A task has now been sent to that recipient administrator so that they can set up the principal investigator for that award. Before we do that task, I want to do a couple more polls, because I think I actually missed when I was going to do poll number 2. So we're going to do 2 polls back to back right now. Let me go ahead and give you the next set of Department of Commerce options and launch this poll. So now you can let us know if you now see your particular program office up on the screen. See a bunch for Denver coming in, a few for Philly, a bunch for Seattle too. So we have quite a few folks that are out in the Midwest and West that have joined us. And still there's probably about a third that have not yet seen their particular agency on the screen. So let's see what happens when we move to the next poll. Give you about half a minute more to get through this one right here. See, people are still voting. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this poll, and we're going to launch the next one. See if any of you are not grant recipients of EDA, but maybe of some of the other agencies in the Department of Commerce. So I see we have a few NOAA grant recipients that have joined our webinar. Welcome to the NOAA recipients. This particular grantee webinar is sponsored by EDA, so I'm going to have an EDA focus as I go through the webinar. However, just about all of the functionality that you see me demonstrating here will be the exact same for other recipients that use Grants Online, even if you're not with EDA. All right. So we do see several OAR NOAA recipients I see they're on. We have a few fisheries and a few MBDA recipients. So welcome, good. We have a mixture, not just all EDA. Very good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this poll. And before we're over, we have 2 more polls to launch. And hopefully after we launch the next 2, we will have captured all of our audience. All right. At this point, we have now sent another task out of the system. This task has gone to the person who is set up as the recipient administrator. Now, let me take a look at my profile here so I can show you that this particular user has both roles on their account. And also, I also want to show you this particular user has access to 3 different organizations, and they have a mixture of roles in all of the organizations. The organization we're using right now for this demo is this one right here, Business, Economic Development and Tourism, Hawaii Department of. That is how the name is set up in SAM.gov. So because it was set up in SAM.gov, it shows here in Grants Online the same way. Notice this person has a recipient administrator role for that organization. They also have an authorized representative role for that same organization, and they have a PI role for that organization. Okay, so now let me go back to my inbox and tasks. And I'm going to pick up this task that was sent to me after I accepted the award as an authorized representative. I've now switched hats, and now I am operating as a recipient administrator. So I'm going to view my task. And I'm going to click on this drop down here that says View the Manage Award Screen and Submit. The main thing I want to do on this screen is to identify for this particular award who the principal investigator is. Notice I already have on this award my authorized representatives. Whoever has already been set up in my organization with this role on any other awards I've already gotten, they will also have this role on this new award. The recipient administrator does not have to physically add them, and they automatically get assigned. The same thing happens for the administrator. And if anyone was set up with the business financial rep role, the same thing would happen for that. However, for the principal investigators, just because a user has a principal investigator role on another award does not mean that translates to the new award. The administrator, recipient administrator, must award by award assign who the principal investigator is for that particular award. And yes, we know that that information has come across in the application in the project narrative. However, it's not in any particular data fields on that SF424 screen, and so we now push that out to you, the recipient, to identify your principal investigator. So that person would just click on this link right here. They can either put in a name to search, but they really don't have to. You can just click search, and the system will show you all of the people that are currently associated with this award with accounts in Grants Online. And just select the person who you want to be set up as the principal investigator, or if you have to, here's an add a new user link, and you can go through the steps to add a new user for your organization into the system. I'm just going to go ahead and select this person, and now as you see, they are set up as the principal investigator. Click done. And now I can tell the system that I have completed managing this award, and that task will go out of my inbox. Now, even though the task has left my inbox, the task is not completely gone. The inbox will normally show with a status of open. But if you change to closed and click on apply filter, you can see all of the tasks that you have previously done. Okay? And then if you use all, it mixes the open and closed. Most of the time, our users just want to show the open award so that they'll know what's left for them to still do in Grants Online. Okay? Now, there is one other way to manage users for your organization. If you are a recipient administrator and you don't have any tasks in your inbox, but you need to go into the system, find a user, and adjust their profile, you can do that. You don't have to have a task in your inbox. And the way you would go about doing that, after you log in, you would click on the Awards tab. And on the Awards tab, the second link down says Manage Recipient Users. When you click on that link, you get a list of the users that you have access to, all the users for any of the organizations that you manage. You can see them right here. You can actually filter it down by selecting a specific organization, and that filters it down to just the 3 that are on this award. And so now at this point, I can look at one of my users. Let's click on this one right here, and I want to give them access to one of my awards. Let me make sure I do the right one here. Select. And Ms. Kathy Friendly right now has no access to any of the awards for my organization. They're not an authorized rep, they're not an administrator, they're not a business financial representative, but they do have an account in Grants Online. So maybe they had an account previously, and that particular award closed, and so they don't have any need, but now a new award has come in. We want to give them access again. Their account at this point is still active. If their account was not active, we would not be able to do this. But since their account is still active, we can now add them to this particular award. One of the things I want to show you here is this is how you give someone the submitting role of the principal investigator. This is the regular role right here. This allows them only to be a PI that once you complete your progress report, you then have to submit it to your authorized representative before it can come into the agency. However, if you as a recipient administrator, if your organization wants to allow your PIs to submit directly to EDA or to your agency, you can give them this role right here with the submitting aspect on it. And then they can send that particular award, when they do the progress reports, they can send it to the agency. So now I want to click cancel. I've done my assign. Let's see. Yep. See, the save was successful. The roles have been modified. Now I can cancel off the screen. Okay? So that's how you get to your list of users and you can manage their accounts without having to have an inbox task to work on. All right, at this point, the award has been accepted. And also, the recipient users have been set up properly. You don't need to be in Grants Online for a while. You're going to be out doing the work of the project. But after a period of time, you're going to need to submit some reports in Grants Online. I'm going to log out, get off of this award, and I've got another award that has been set up that already has some reports on it. This award, I won't have any reports. If I go back now to my award, wait a minute, I don't have a task. How do I get back to this award? Well, there's a couple of ways. I do have some breadcrumbs, but if I didn't have breadcrumbs, how would I get to the award again? I would go to my Awards tab. I would click on Search Awards, and I could just click on Search. I can narrow it down a little bit up here. I know my award starts with ED18, so I'm going to narrow down my results to just the awards that start with ED18. That's 3 awards like that. Okay? Notice this particular award has 2 people set up as the principal investigator. So you can actually have, like I said earlier, more than one person have the same role in the system. All right. So the award we were just working on is the one that ends in 003. Let's take a look at that grant file. We just accepted it. As we scroll down on the grant file, there's not much on it. You have award package. This is a quick and dirty way to get back to that CD 450 page that has all of your terms and conditions. That's the fastest way to get back to this screen. Also notice, now that I have accepted the award, the recipient authorized representative's name shows, and if you run the report, their name would also show up on the report. Also, after the award is accepted, the system automatically generates a PDF and attaches it to this file, as well as any special award conditions that are part of the award that are not in this particular attachment. Okay? All right, so that's how I can get to that screen. Let me cancel off of this screen, go back to my award package, and then notice to move back, I'm just scrolling down, and I look at associated documents. These are my parent documents to whatever page I'm on. These are my child documents to whatever page I'm on. Okay? So I'm going to click back here to get back to my main grants file page. And there's, again, not much more on here. The special award condition report are award conditions that were set up that are in addition to the ones that are in the standard attachment. So this will just generate another PDF file. And in order for EDA, for you guys to see all of your special award conditions, you need to look at both this particular report right here. Here's a report generated from the system. So you'll have to look at this one. In addition to this, you'll also have to look at the ones that are on your award package. So at the bottom of your award package, there's this link right here, your EDA standard award conditions. The combination of those two will be the terms and conditions, the EDA terms and conditions for your particular grant award. All right. Now, notice again on this particular grants file, I want to submit a progress or financial report, but this one has nothing on it. I don't have a way to do that. The award period for this award just started in October. So because the frequency of my financial reports are semi-annual, I have to wait for 6 months to elapse before I can submit the report. Until that point, there would be nothing for me to do when it comes to financial reports. This one, I have my progress reports synchronized to be at the same frequency as my SF425. It doesn't have to be this way. They could be just semi-annual from the start date of the award, but this particular one is set up to be synchronized. In those cases, my progress and my financial reports will be generated at the same time. But again, because 6 months have not yet elapsed, there's nothing on this page. So for the purposes of the webinar, I've set up another award that actually has some progress and financial reports for us to look at. Before we do that, though, let's see. We have done a setup of our PI. Yeah, we want to submit a progress report. So let me now go back to Search Awards. I'm going to use a different feature. Let me show you another way of finding my progress reports. I'm going to use this feature, Search Reports. This allows me to find all of my unsubmitted, or actually any reports in the system. There's a lot of different ways you can search for the reports. So I want to search for reports that start with award numbers, ED18. I want to find progress reports only, and I want everything that's not yet submitted to the agency. All right. So I have now found 2 progress reports for the same award. This award is a year older than the previous one, so now I have some reports on it. Notice these reports have periods end dates. One was ending last March, another one just ended last September, and because I have not yet submitted those reports, both of them have a delinquent status. The system does not do anything other than change the status to delinquent. There's no automatic enforcement action by the system. Once you submit the report, the status will immediately change to submitted. I do want to let you know that you will get reminders from the system. There will be 2 reminders before the report is actually available that says it's coming up. Then there's going to be a reminder right after we create this report, and we call these placeholders. So right after we create these placeholders, you'll be notified it's out there. You now have 30 days to submit it. And then once it becomes delinquent, we send you another notice that now you are delinquent. All right, I'm going to click on one of these links. And I'm going to click on this link that says goes to the details page. I've got a big gray box that tells me all about this grant award. And there's really nothing to do on this page except for the upload and attachment. There's no actual form in Grants Online right now when it comes to progress reports. So you have to develop an attachment. You may be given some guidance from your project officer as to what format they would like to see this project progress report. And whatever format they say to use, go ahead and do that. And then click on the plus sign and just browse for something that's on your computer, find your file, and then give it a description. Once you do that, you need to click Save Attachment. And now you will see your progress report uploaded onto this placeholder. There's really nothing else that you need to do. You can put some additional comments in this box if you want. Otherwise, click Save and Start Workflow. Remember, I said when you click Save and Start Workflow, it should pop up. You have to say OK. You have not yet sent this to the agency. You still have one more action to take. You have to click on this drop-down and forward your progress report to the agency. Now, I was able to do that because I also have the role of not only the PI, but I have the role of authorized representative. So because I have that role, I can go ahead and forward it to the agency. If I only had a PI role that was not submitting, it would say forward to authorized representative. The poll, okay. All right, I have been reminded that I have another poll to do. So let me go ahead and do that. Oh, here we go. All right, let's do our fourth poll before we move forward. And I'm going to launch that. All right, take a look. See if this particular poll has the office that you're in. So far, oh, we got a weather service one. Most of you are not on this particular page. Okay, we've got an Office of Education grantee out there. We've got a good range of various grant recipients out there, so that's very good. I'm glad you were able to join us for this webinar. We hope that it's been useful, and it is useful for you. Okay, we're going to give you about 10 more seconds, and we're going to go ahead and shut the poll down. All right, close on this poll right here. Okay, we just submitted our progress report to the agency, but we also want to show you about submitting the financial report. Just like with the progress reports, on the awards tab, we can use the search feature. But this time I'm going to use search awards, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on the grants file. So let me search awards instead, EDA 18, we'll keep it there. And we'll pick up this award right here, which is the one that has the reports on it. And on this particular grants file, as we scroll down, remember the other one only had these three items here at the top under subdocument. But now this report, because it's an older award, see this award started a year earlier, back in 2016. So now we have some financial and progress reports, and you will find them on your grants file here down at the bottom. Let me click on the ID number of one of the financial reports, and then click on this link. And unlike for the progress report, which actually has no form, we actually replicate the SF425 form in Grants Online. So you actually do have a form that's going to come up on the screen with a bunch of data fields that you have to fill in. So here's your form, and at the top of the form there's a link here that provides the form instructions. These are the official instructions that go with the SF, which means standard form. This is a federal government form that is used by the all grantees in the federal government, and they have to all submit the same form. And there's a bunch of data fields down here that you have to fill in. Now, if you are a NOAA recipient, when you're filling in this form, if you have to use this form, if it is not your final financial report, you will only be filling in these top two blocks. You will not have access to these down here. That's only for NOAA. For all of the rest of the agencies in the Department of Commerce that do grants, you will be filling out this entire form each time you have to fill it out. So I'm not going to actually attempt to fill this form out. There's too many data fields, and I'm not here to tell you and explain this to you. If you do have questions, please contact your project officer or your grant specialist, and they can provide you more guidance as to how to fill in your report. But what?
Slide 36.
Slide 36. Very good. Let me click over here to our grant slides. Let's see, where's our training page here? All right, I'm going to move to slide 36 and go. And here's slide 36. Okay. So for slide 36, this is important. This reiterates what I was just saying. For NOAA, you will only have these two boxes available. For EDA and all of our other bureaus, not only will you have these two boxes, but you're going to have all the boxes underneath them that you're going to have to fill in. Okay, let me go one more page. As you see, a little bit more of the screen right here. 37. When you finish with your data entry, down at the bottom, you're going to have a Save and Start Workflow button. Let me go back to the system. And you'll see this down here at the very bottom. Okay? At this point, because I didn't put any data in it, you see this message: the form is not validated and cannot be forwarded to the federal agency. So, the form has some validation behind it, and it will be checking your numbers, and there will be certain error messages that will prevent. So if you click the Save button, it's going to give you a bunch of information at the top to help you know what is left that still needs to be done before you submit it to the agency. If your cash on hand, which is the difference between this number here, this top number is the amount of funds you've received from your federal agency. So either you've drawn them down from ASAP, or you've submitted an SF-270 and gotten funds electronically transferred to your bank. This next data field, these are the funds that you have, this is the amount of funds that you've expended from the money that you've drawn down. So if you drew down $10,000 and you had $8,000 worth of invoices, payroll to make, then this cash on hand will reflect a difference of $2,000. Okay? And the system will automatically do the calculation for you. If it turns out that this cash on hand line is greater than $5,000, or if it's less than negative $5,000, the system will force you to go down here and use this remarks section in box 12, and you will have to put in some kind of a comment as to why the cash on hand is that amount. Okay? Since I'm not submitting, I'm just going to go ahead and cancel. And I'm going to use my breadcrumb to get back to my grant file. All right, so that was our progress report and our financial report. We've got one more section here on the award action request, but before we do that last section, we're going to do one more poll. We just have one more poll left to find out who all the rest of our grant recipients are. So let me come over here and do the very last poll and launch. So if you were not able to answer the questions on the previous 4 polls, perhaps you have an item here that you can choose that better suits your particular situation. Okay. So it looks like we do have perhaps a census recipient here. That's great. Got a few folks that have not yet received a grant award, and that's good. But when you do get a chance to receive your awards through Grants Online, you will be an expert at knowing what to do with it. It looks like for a few of you, we did not show your grant issuing office. If that's the case, you can just submit a question to us, but not a question. You can just identify who issued your grant, and we can be sure to make sure that in future webinars we include your organization in our poll. All right. So it looks like most of the people have now responded to at least one of our 5 polls. We appreciate that, and we hope that that helped you to be engaged in our webinar. I'm going to go ahead and close this poll down, and we're going to go through the last remaining parts of this particular webinar, the agenda. At the end, we will go back and look at our questions. We'll open it up and allow you to submit questions and see if there's anything that we have still yet to answer for you. All right. So now if you're actually looking at the slides, we're going to start from slide 39, which is creating award action requests. I'm going to go down here to slide 39. All right, let's look at what it says about award action requests. Basically, any action, if you need prior approval from your federal agency, you must submit an award action request. And that's simply what it is. Prior to using Grants Online, you probably sent an email, or you probably put a letter on letterhead and sent it into your project or your program officer to ask them permission to do something related to the grant award that you were issued. If you need guidance as to how to use the award action request section, if you have questions about it, programmatic questions, you should contact your program officer or your project officer. If you have questions related to how to just do it in Grants Online, this particular link sends you to a guidance document that has all of that information. That link is also available inside of Grants Online. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. There's one particular award action request that we're going to show you before we end, and only EDA uses that particular one. It's called ASAP drawdown request, and it is because of the way the EDA grantees are set up in ASAP. There is a specific business process that EDA has for their grantees when they are requesting funds. So now let's flip back over to the system. And we want to submit an award action request. This is another one of those tasks that we will not actually have anything in our inbox because the system doesn't know that's what we want to do. So you have to log into the system, go to your awards tab, and search for the award that you want to submit the award action request for. Once you do that, you're going to come back to this grants file, and this is where you're going to start. Notice I want to just turn your attention to all of my breadcrumbs at the top. Remember at first my breadcrumbs were only set to 4, and I only saw 4 at a time, but when I lengthened it to 10, I am now seeing a lot more breadcrumbs at the top of my screen. So that's just another way to show you how you can customize your own Grants Online experience. So now I'm at my grants file. Let me just show you one more time how I would get to that. I would log into the system, click on my awards tab, to click on search awards, either here or here. They both send you to the same place. You can either put in the award number or part of it to narrow down your search results. You can keep it with no award number and click search. Okay, it just gives you more results, and then you'll have to figure out which one it is that you want to use. I will go ahead and use this first one here. And for this one, I want to submit an award action request. So I click on my drop down here and click on Create Award Action Request and Submit. I will be taken to a new screen that has what we call the AAR, or Award Action Request Index. And it's basically all of your possible award action requests that you can submit. These are items that are in what is called the 2 CFR Part 200, which is federal code guidance of the Code of Federal Regulations. It's the federal guidance for how to deal with grants, how to manage grants. Okay? So this particular award has a couple of links that are not enabled, and then some that are, a lot that are enabled. For this particular one, I could tell this award was set up as a research award because it gives me the research link enabled. If it was not a research award, these links would be enabled and these two would not be enabled. Okay? Once I have found the award that I want, I can look through these lists. If I see the type of action I want to ask a request for, I can click on it. If not, we have a catch-all, this other right here, and you can use that to submit a general question. But let's do the change in principal investigator. That seems to be one that you need to do on a fairly regular basis. People change jobs. So you click on the link. We're just going to type in the information for the new person that's going to become the recipient, the principal investigator. So we're going to make this White, last name, first name, no. Okay. I give them an email address, no-white @disney.xx. Can't give it a real email address because I don't want it to go anywhere. Give it their phone number, 301. I live in Maryland, so I've got my 301 area code. And our information line. I don't know if that number works anymore, but it used to when I was growing up, and now I'm telling my age. All right, the effective date. We're just going to say it's effective today. So we're going to say 11, 9, 2017. The address, Disney Studios, California. Okay. And we need to give a justification as to why this is becoming the new principal investigator. And we shall say that Cinder Ella has moved on to another print. It's late, guys. It's on the East Coast. I've had a long day. I know it's only 4:01, but I've been up since 4 this morning, so I've been up for 12 hours already. Okay. Now, I do want to add an attachment. I need to maybe submit a resume with this particular change in principal investigator. But I don't have an attachment link. And that is because I have to first click on the Save button here. And once I click Save, I now have a link to add my attachment. So now I can choose the file. Yes. Okay. Save attachment. All right, I have my attachment. I have the name of the new person. I have the justification. I can now click Save and Start Workflow. It's my pop-up. Okay. Remember, clicking Save and Start Workflow does not automatically send it to the next person in line. You have to click on your drop-down and forward to the agency. All right. That is gone now onto the agency. If you want to see what it looks like on your grants file, I'm going to use our breadcrumb right here. Take a look at the grants file. Scroll down. And we've got a couple change in principal investigator actions on this particular, so it's changed twice. Now, this one is still in the inbox of the authorized representative. It was started yesterday, and they didn't send it. This one has been sent on to the agency. Notice it says Program Officer Actions Not Started. That lets you know it's no longer with you, your organization. It is now with the agency. Let's take a look at this one right here. Since I sent the one that I started this one yesterday, I decided this is not really what I want. I started a new one, so I'm going to withdraw this one. So I'm going to click here, Withdraw Award Action Request. And this one I'm not going to send to the agency. Whoops, it will not let me just withdraw it. Notice this pop-up. You must enter comments for this action. So I have to put a comment here as to why I'm withdrawing. Duplicate. Request. All right, now I can click Submit. Okay. And the system has completed that action. Let's now go back and look at the grants file. Scroll down on this page. We have the one that I just withdrew, and we have the one that we submitted. Let's do one more award action request, the most important one, the one that has to do with getting money. All right, so I'm going to go back to the top. This one says ASAP recipient no. So because this particular recipient is not set up at ASAP, you will not be creating an award action request to get your money. You're going to create an SF-270. I'm not going to go through the whole workflow on that, but it's basically another form. And you have to fill in a form about the funds that you want to request. It will go to EDA, and then it'll go to the NOAA Finance Office, who cross-services EDA. Once it's approved by your program, you'll enter all your information, put in some money fields, and then they'll cut a check and EFT it to your bank. I'm not going to complete that one. I want to go back to my other awards, so I'm going to go back to my awards, search awards, EDA team, and I want to find my ASAP award, which is this one right here. If I look at my grants information, notice this one says this is an ASAP recipient. Yes. So here, notice I do not have Create SF-270 as an option. The system does not allow you to create an SF-70 in Grants Online using the form in Grants Online if you are using ASAP. But you will need to use an SF-270 when you're requesting money. So we're going to walk through that right now. You click on Create Award Action Request and Submit. One more thing I forgot to show you, but remember I told you there was a guidance document. Here's the link right here to that guidance document so that you can, in fact, let me open it here. Right here. This will provide you instructions on each type of award action request. We're going to do this one right here, ASAP drawdown request. So I'm going to click on that. Takes me down to a screen that has a screenshot of the form, and then it has a lot of information, provides you guidance on how to fill in the form, what additional information your agency is looking for an SF-270, okay? Now this SF-270 is not going to be the one that you fill in Grants Online. You're going to have a PDF copy of an SF-270. You need a fillable PDF that you will open up and you will fill in the information for that particular request. Once you've done that, let's go ahead and do our ASAP drawdown request. You'll enter the date that you are sending in your request. We'll say today, 11. And the amount. Okay, the period that's covered. I'm going to say 10. Now let's say, let's see, this grant started in 2016. We'll say this one starts from 10, 01, 29, 7 to the end of the month. So this will be for the month. I don't know that you do monthly. You may do quarterly. I'm just going to do this on a month for a monthly period. 10, 41. Okay. How much money have you expended towards your grant project, we'll say that we've expended, let's say we've expended $8,000. Okay? Previously requested. This is our first request, so we haven't requested anything yet. Pay invoices and payroll. Okay. Now, again, as an EDA recipient, you need to attach an SF270, but you need that link. You have to click the Save button. And now, there's a warning on this page. There is an SAC, which means Special Award Condition, with the payment verification flag that has not yet been satisfied. Wow. Okay, so there is something, a special award condition, that I need to say that I have satisfied it in the system so that I can get this payment. There was something in my award conditions that I was supposed to do by a certain date. So there's a warning. Now, it's not going to stop me from turning this in. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, but then I'm going to show you how to take care of this particular issue. So we're going to go ahead and add our attachment, and we're just going to do a test attachment now, but of course it needs to be an SF270. Save attachment. Notice I can still do everything I want to do, even with that warning. Save and start workflow, okay. And forward to agency. Well, before I forward to the agency, I want to put a little comment on here just to let them know the plan to submit, the status, submit, I've got to spell it right, the satisfy, special award conditions, award action request very soon. Okay? You're going to let the agency know. We saw that warning. We are going to submit that award action request. It is coming, but it still allows us to submit this request for our ASAP project. So I'm going to click submit here. Okay. And it's now gone on to the agency. So I did want you to see that even though you got that warning message, it does not stop you from submitting your request to the agency. Please note that until you actually do satisfy that special award condition, the federal people, when they look at your report, they're also going to see that warning message. So they'll know also that there's still something that needs to be done before they authorize your payment. Let's go ahead and submit that particular satisfied special award condition so that we can remove the warning from the screen. That is yet another award action request. So let's go on back to our grants file. Create award action request, submit. Scroll down here. Satisfy specific conditions. This is the one you will need to use in order to take care of that warning message. All right, on this page, here's a drop-down list for a couple of different special award conditions that are on my award. And I believe this is the one that's causing the issue. So you have to submit a copy of the acknowledgement and agreement of co-recipient. There's a due date on there. Let me put the justification. Co-recipient as partner is trying to complete this project. All right. I need to upload the attachment, but of course I have to first click my Save button. Here is my widget for the attachment. Required doc. Okay, save attachment. All right, and save and start workflow. Forward to agency, submit. Okay. All right, let's take a quick look at the grants file, and this is going to be, that was basically the last hands-on action. We want to save a few minutes for questions, additional questions if they have not yet been answered. So let me just show you the grants file. Here are 2 award action requests that we put on here. Notice the status on our progress report. Immediately, as soon as we selected forward to agency, it changed from delinquent to submitted. So as you're doing actions on your grant award, your Grants Online grants file will build up. It will hold those actions, and at any time when you come back into the system, you can see at a glance all the activity on your grant award. You can click on your various links to get to any of those documents, and you have your grant file right there at your fingertips. All right, let me go back at this point to our slide presentation. I'm going to move up to page 47. Make sure you know where to get additional help when this webinar is over. This link right here is that login screen that I use to log into the system. This link here is our quick reference guide. That's one of the guides in your handout. And this link is to that training page that has all of the other recipient resources for Grants Online. Next slide. Let me make sure you have our help desk information. It's grantsonline.helpdesk@noaa.gov. Grants Online is all one word. Help desk is all one word with a dot in between. grantsonline.helpdesk@noaa.gov. The phone number, we have a regular phone number, and then we have a toll-free phone number. That really is a toll-free number. So right now, even if you're outside the Washington metro area, of course, now long distance is no longer basically an issue. So feel free to use the regular phone number. Only resort to the toll-free number if that's absolutely necessary. And again, our help desk hours are our regular federal business days, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time. And we do understand that we have recipients that are out west and even further out in the Pacific Islands. Please feel free to utilize the email, leave us a phone message, and we will get information back to you as soon as we can. Okay? One more slide. All right. If you have your slide deck, you have some URLs that will help you to find this information after you leave the webinar. This link is back to that training page. Let me just show you again. Training, grant recipient training resources. So this is your page that has all your training resources. Go back to the slide deck. So that's this page here. The participants' questions and answers, this and other webinars is on that page. It's number 4 on that page. Down here, number 4. So here is where we'll be posting the slides, the actual recording, and the questions and answers. And let's go back to the last question. The quick reference guide, user manuals, again, all on that same page. So at this point, we have completed the webinar, and we're going to use the last few minutes to answer any remaining questions. please submit them, and I'm going to work with Yvette to see if there's anything that we still need to answer. Let me open up our questions pane.
Go down to 401.
401, okay,
Yep.
401.
Yep.
All right, I see that one right here. This is from Sharon. When a change in staff is updated on the award, where does it show that EDA needs to approve the change? That's a good question. EDA approves the change when that award action request is submitted, because the award action request for a change in PI is actually submitted to the project officer. You guys have to approve that request before the recipient administrator actually goes into the background to make the change. One thing I didn't show you when I was doing the change in PI, I didn't show you the complete workflow. And I talked about process maps. So this is an excellent one that we can use, the process map, to see the flow. So let me go back to our training material. Let me drop this back. And at the top, I'm going to look at the top link under process maps. This is basically a pictorial representation of our processes that you go through in Grants Online. So this is the flow for most award action requests that are submitted to our system. It's initiated by someone in the recipient's organization. They fill in all the data on the page, and then they have to forward to their authorized representative. Of course, if the person is the authorized representative, they don't have to take that step. They will be forwarding the request to the agency, and it comes in to the project officer. The program officer and project officer is the same person on our map. So the project officer at EDA will be the first person to receive that award action request, and they get to review it. Once they review it, they will send it to the grant specialist. I do recognize in EDA that the project officer is also the grant specialist, so for the EDA users, you will probably have two tasks that you're going to have to complete before it moves forward and gets finalized. After that, there are some optional people that can review the request within the agency, and finally it goes to the grants officer. The grants officer is the person with signature authority for the federal side. They will review it and approve it. Once they approve the award action request, an email notification comes back to the authorized representative letting them know that it's been approved. And now for the change in PI, there's a special one. There is actually one more task that happens after the grants officer approves, and a task goes to their administrator, their recipient administrator, to let them know they can now go in the system and set up the new person. Okay? One more thing I didn't mention, and I bet I need to mention that right now. Let me just show you the I want to show you the AAR guidance document. Let me see if I still have it open. It looks like I don't. So let me go over to the training page. Here it is, Award Action Request Guidance document. I'm going to go back to the top of this document, because I failed to mention that wherever you see these asterisks here for these award action requests, whenever you submit those particular award action requests, when they go into the federal agency, to EDA or NOAA, or whoever your federal agency is, when they process it, you will not get just a notification coming back to you. You will actually get an amendment. So some of your award action requests will be changed into an amendment, and you will have to actually accept an amendment to activate that particular award action request. All right, a very good question. Let me go back to our questions pane. Are there any others, Yvette, that I need to look at, specific ones? Should I just look at the ones with no answers?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. In order to satisfy a special award condition, who has the role to forward it to the agency? Only the authorized representative, the AOR, RAR, but it's that person with signature authority. Only the authorized representative can forward any award action request to the agency. All right, let me go to the next question here. The Department of Commerce enters the login information for the recipient. The Department of Commerce will set up the initial recipient authorized representative. That will allow them to accept their award. But once that is done, then they will have set up their own recipient administrator, and from that point on, the internal organization's recipient administrator can issue the login information for any new people that you set up in your organization. Okay, let me go down here. How do we know when we need to go into the ASAP to request the funds? Very good. Good question. All right. Let's go back to our process maps, and I'm going to go down to the one specifically for that award action request drawdown. I think it's the last one here. No, it's not. Where is the... Here it is, right here. All right. This is a specific workflow for the ASAP drawdown request. That's a very good question, and one that is important for you guys to understand the flow, because there's lots of steps to that. So when you want your funds, when you want some more funds from your grant award, the very first thing that should happen is one of the users within your agency will initiate an award action request. They will click on Create ASAP Drawdown Request, that particular award action request. They'll either forward it to the authorized representative, or if they are an authorized representative already, they can forward to the agency. Once it comes in to the agency and gets reviewed and approved and accepted, the Grants Online system is going to send this approval notification back to the authorized representative. That approval notification will be letting you know now it is time for you to go into ASAP and put in your request actually in the ASAP system. While you're doing that, we have also sent a task to the person in the NOAA Finance Office who will authorize this request. So they're going to have a task sitting in their inbox to go authorize this request that you're putting in the ASAP. And it's going to sit there. They're going to check ASAP, the next couple of days to see if you have put your request in. Once you have put it in, they're going to go ahead and release it, and then you will get a confirmation that the funds have been released, and you can now, ASAP should be sending the funds to your bank. So that's the way it flows. It'll be important for you to find this process map so that you can understand that process, and let me just show you where it is. I am on the very top link here, Award and Post-Award Workflow. If you click on this link, it is AAR-5. So you just scroll down to that particular process map, and it provides you the workflow for the ASAP drawdown request. All right. Let's see the next question.
The rest of them not answered. They're basically about the ASAP drawdown.
Okay, good. All right, so we are just about right on time. It looks like all of our questions have been answered, and I hope that indeed you have gotten a lot out of this particular webinar. You can, I think there's going to be a follow-up link, and you can submit any comments to myself or to whoever the name is in that particular link, and you will be able to let us provide feedback to us. All right, let's see. It looks like there's one more question, a couple of questions. I believe we just went through that process. Let's see. Let me just read this real quick. Yeah, let me read that one. How do we open it up? To date, we have not received notification that we could go into ASAP to make our drawdown. If you have not received that notification, I would just pick up the phone, send an email, contact your project officer, or if you have direct contact to the ASAP authorizer within NOAA, her name is Roberta Duncan, you may contact her and just check to see what the status is. You should be actually able to look at your grants file. Let me see. Back here. Your ASAP request is right here. So you're going to be able to see over here the status of where it is, who has it. So you can look at this and then compare it to the process map. In this case, it says Grant Specialist ASAP Actions Not Started. So you can look at the process map and say, okay, it's with the Grant Specialist. It's right here. This person hasn't started their work. And you can kind of see, based on the process map, where it is in the flow, and then have a feel for when you should be getting that particular notification. All right, it's 4:29 now. We're going to go ahead and close out the webinar. Again, we thank you for participating. We hope that most of your questions have been answered. Feel free again to submit any additional questions to our help desk, and we'll do our best to assist you. And we just ask that you have a wonderful afternoon, the rest of your weekend, and so long, everyone. Thank you.